Israel, and you know what's going on right there in this region. And my kids are all born here in the U.S., so they ask me, Dad, what do you think, how you feel? And let me tell you this, and this is only a testimony to God, not to me. I'm just the vessel and the example that have accomplished that through God's help. I do not have hate towards anyone, zero. Zero. Like there's nothing you could say to me about the situation there that will get me hateful. Even though I know probably more than most people. And I could see how the majority of people all over the world are falling in one side or the other, which is, by the way, a mistake. And God is watching. Because remember, when you take sides, you increase division anywhere. We do it here in our society, we do it culturally, racially, economically. Wisdom requires neutrality. Now that doesn't mean you don't have your own conviction and you don't have your own way of how to lead. But that's where you're conscious spiritually, that the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, call that power of the universe that operates in you, that runs your heart, your brain, your blood flows, the enzymes, everything in you right now that is running, you're not running it consciously. It's not a part of you that is paying attention to me right now. Who's running all that sophisticated machinery? Pay attention, it's all there. Like, God is such a brilliant entity, He installed all the software inside. The ones who messed it up, it's us. It's the world. People like to throw the devil and all this. That's a whole different subject. And I can tell you the origin of those concepts. It's not the devil. God gave us the power of creation and destruction on this planet. That's why He created us in His image. Therefore, when a man and a woman, they marry, God is a partner with them in marriage. And what do? They create life. He gave us an actual tool, biological tool to create life. It's all intelligent. In every way you look at it. The only game in town is God consciousness. And we need to rebrand it. We need to refresh it. You need to challenge some of your traditional theological upbringing. We all have identities. Okay, this is very important. Identities is another form of the physical world, just like your name, just like your political affiliation. They're identities. They're belief systems made by man, which is okay, but don't get too attached. Don't take it too seriously. See, people kill each other and hate each other based on beliefs that we make. What kind of game is that? And then we get mad at kids when they fight over marble game. If you want to change the world, I do. I know JC wants, and I know a lot of you here do. Guess where it starts? Always been. Mahatma Gandhi changed the whole history of India. One man owned nothing against the British military. One man owned nothing. It's about the mind, it's about your faith and trust. So the example that I'm presenting to you guys, if you follow it, you experiment with it, don't take my word for it, test it yourself, will increase trust. Trust is huge. Trust is a fruit of the tree of faith. Let me repeat that. Trust is a fruit for the tree of faith. So there are a lot of people who believe in God's existence, but don't trust Him. For example, a thief would be breaking into a house at night, and he would be, please God, let me go inside the house and not get caught and not have any injury. Obviously, the thief believes in God. But How so? Because if he had trust, he wouldn't be breaking into the house because God will provide for him. See how that works? That's the spiritual intelligence I'm talking about. And once you develop it, you start catching all sorts of patterns. Life is made of patterns. Okay? And what kind of programs you have in your mind? Program is another word for belief system. Let me say this to you before we wrap it up here. Not all beliefs are equal. Let me say it again. Not all beliefs are equal. Because beliefs represent bundles of thoughts. And those thoughts, you can go even deeper with sponsoring thoughts. So if your original thought is fear-based, and then you create a belief that the origin of it is fear-based, it does not matter what kind of manifestation you're going to have in the world, including having the biggest company in the world and produce millions of dollars. Guess what? You guys already know. You're going to create pollution. But the opposite is true. So if you start with a loving belief, love, truth, faith, whatever comes out of that has no option but to succeed. It's impossible. That's not my design, that's God's design. I just learned the pattern, I detected it, and then I've used it in my life. This is an example today. Like, okay, so I read every day probably hours about specific topics, spiritual intelligence and everything. I have so much information. And I'm talking to God, I'm praying, I'm thinking all this, like what should I say and what, you know. And I kept praying, saying, God, please bless my tongue and let me use it for what it's intended for. Take my ego aside. It's not about me. It's about you. Please use me as a vehicle, as a vessel to channel something worthwhile to my brothers. Thank you.